This is a WVVA weather special report.
Good afternoon. We break into your regularly scheduled programming because we do have a tornado warning right now in effect for southern Bland and Wythe counties. That's in effect until 2:30 p.m. Basically, Doppler radar was indicating some rotation in a severe thunderstorm that was located just west of that area. That's possible. It's moving over Marion right now, and it's moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So once again, southern Bland and also Wythe County is under that tornado warning until 2:30 p.m. Now is the time to make sure you're taking cover. If you need to get to your safe space, if you're in that area, you want to get to the lowest floor of your home or whatever structure you're in. You want to put as many walls in between you and the outside. Bathrooms, basements, closets, those are going to be the areas that you're headed to right now if you're located in Wythe or southern Bland County. So let's go ahead and take a look at velocity. That will show us the winds in this storm. And if we zoom in here, we can notice that there is a little bit of rotation. That's why they went ahead and issued that tornado warning for Wythe County and also southern Bland. There's not too much rotation now, but we just want to, out of caution, get to our safe spaces. Either way, this storm is going to produce some gusty winds and possibly some quarter-sized hail as it moves into our region. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a future look at this storm and where it's going, and we can get the timing for you here real quick. It's moving at about 40 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up. So Atkins, that's coming your way at 2:11. So here in the next few minutes, we could be seeing some strong thunderstorms, potentially a tornado moving into that region. Looking forward in Wytheville, 2:55, that's about when this storm would make its way into Wytheville. And then it would continue to push north and east into Mechanicsburg and Pulaski if this storm continued to hold on to its strength. As of now, it does look like it's strengthening a bit. The storm has just popped up. So we're going to keep a close eye here and keep looking at our velocity. That will show us the wind, and we can see if there's any rotation in the storm at the moment. So right now, I'm going to flip back to velocity, and we're going to see if we have any stronger winds that are rotating across that region. Right now, it looks like we're still seeing the same thing we saw with the last scan, just some slight rotation in that area. So that's why the National Weather Service in Blacksburg, Virginia has went ahead and issued that tornado warning, once again, for Wythe County and southern Bland. Let's go ahead and take a look at where we can go. Tornado safety tips. So you want to seek shelter. If you're in a sturdy shelter, that's great. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. If you're in a car or if you're in a mobile home, you want to find a sturdy shelter right now. You need to get there immediately if you're in Wythe or southern Bland County. Once you've found that sturdy structure, you want to get to an interior room on the lowest floor of that structure. So go as low as you can go in your home, in your office, whatever it may be, and you want to put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Once again, mobile homes, you want to seek a sturdy structure. That's not a sturdy structure. So you need to get to a building that is cemented into the ground. Also, we want to make sure that you protect yourself. If you have a mattress, you might want to put that over yourself, helmet, anything like that. If you're in a larger building, like I said, you want to get to that interior room. And of course, vehicles, not safe to be in right now. If you happen to be listening and you're driving, or you know someone who's driving in that area, you want to tell them to find a sturdy structure such as a fast food restaurant or a gas station. Those are good locations to be if you're on the road, especially at the interstates. You want to just pull off at your next exit and find a sturdy structure. We don't want you in your cars. We don't want you pulling under any overpasses. We want you getting in a sturdy structure that's shown to be the safest place to be during a tornado. So I'm going to go ahead and look back at radar real quick and see the evolution of this storm. I'm going to zoom in here on Wythe County and southern Bland. That's where the storm is headed right now. And we can see this storm, it's now starting to kind of push into Wythe County, at least the core of that storm. So once again, I'm going to draw here, and we can see the timing of that storm as well. So if you're in Wythe or southern Bland, you want to take shelter right now. So I'm going to overlay this. Once again, Atkins, this is pretty much moving into your area right now, at least where the rotation is indicated by Doppler radar. This is eventually going to push into Wytheville around 2:55, 3 o'clock or so. So anywhere in Wythe County, southern Bland, get to your safe place immediately. Let's go ahead and look at that velocity again and see if we have anything tightening up here. Once again, velocity, if you're just now joining us, is going to show us which way the winds are blowing and how strong they are. So I'm still seeing some pretty weak rotation with that storm there in Wythe County. But like I said, the National Weather Service has issued that tornado warning just as a cautionary, just as a precaution rather, in case that storm does end up dropping a tornado, or if that couplet will kind of tighten up. We can see winds very quickly get a little stronger and a little tighter, and that's when we would know that there's probably a tornado on the ground. But once again, Wythe County and southern Bland, you need to be taking shelter right now if you're anywhere in that polygon. So even if it's going to take a little bit to get there, we want you to stay safe and we want you to get into your spot. And then we'll give you the all clear, of course, once that storm has moved out of the region. But I'm going to go ahead and come back here on radar, zoom in here on that storm. So you can kind of see that core. Let me pull up the finger here. You can kind of see this core here, and just east of Marion now is where that tornado would be if it is on the ground. And it's going to be moving north and east at 40 miles per hour. So it's moving at a pretty good clip across the region. And once again, you want to get into the lowest floor. You want to get into the most interior room of that building if you are anywhere in that polygon. So it's pretty much all of Wythe County. If you're in Wythe County, you should be seeking shelter now, and also the southern portion of Bland County. That includes Interstate I-77. If you're anywhere on that interstate, from southern Bland County all the way down to Wytheville, you'll want to go ahead and take shelter. That also includes I-81. If you know anyone, or if you happen to be driving on I-81, you want to make sure to get to your nearest exit and seek a sturdy structure. Once again, gas station or a fast food restaurant, if that's somewhere that you're located right now. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to velocity one more time. Just want to make sure that these winds aren't speeding up or getting tighter by any means. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this storm. Still seeing just some weak rotation, but once again, you'll want to get in that safe place if you are under that tornado warning, if you're in that polygon. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about tornado safety again. Once again, you want to seek shelter in a basement, lowest floor. So if you don't have a basement, you just want to get to the lowest floor of your building into an interior room. So I keep saying that. Just put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. So typically we look for areas like bathrooms, basements, closets, stuff like that. If you're in a mobile home that's not a sturdy structure, you want to seek a sturdy structure that has is an into the ground, and then you want to get to the lowest floor in the most interior room. Vehicle is not a safe place to be. I keep saying that. Make sure you're pulling over to the nearest exit. Get inside a sturdy structure, because this tornado, or this severe thunderstorm, I should say, that's capable of producing a tornado is going to be moving over interstates I-81 and I-77 in Wythe and southern Bland counties. If you're in a larger building, you want to get to an interior room, like I said. Put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that tornado one more time. This cell here is pushing into a rural retreat area. If you're in rural retreat, you want to make sure to get to your safe space right now. This storm is knocking on your doorstep, and it's continuing to push into the area of Wytheville. It looks like it would move just into that area in the matter of a few minutes. So let me go ahead and pause this, and I'm going to go ahead and overlay this tracker that will kind of show us the timing of when this storm would be in the area. So once again, rural retreat, this is knocking on your doorstep. You have about 10 minutes until it will be moving over that region. Wytheville, just before 3 p.m., it's looking like 2:53 is when this storm will be moving into the Wytheville area. But I know I'm giving you some advance notice. That's so that you have enough time to get to your safe space. So don't go to your safe space at 2:50. Now is the time to go and make sure that you're staying safe. We're giving you plenty of time, especially if you're not in a sturdy structure. Once again, if you're in a mobile home, you'll want to make sure to get in that structure. So let's zoom in even closer onto this storm here. I'm going to go ahead and check velocity one more time just to make sure that we're not seeing any tightening of those winds. It looks like we still have some broad rotation. But once again, even if there's not a tornado on the ground, this storm is capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some quarter-size hail as well. So tornado or not, you want to make sure you're certainly inside in a sturdy structure before the storm gets to your area. So I'm going to zoom in here on this storm real close. Like I said, it's moving into the rural retreat area. If you're in Wilson, if you're in Klein, Crockett, these are all cities that are in that polygon in the path of the storm. Blacklick is also another location. It's moving towards Wytheville, Carnot. Anywhere in that Bland or Wythe County area is where this storm is headed right now. Eventually, it would be moving east of Wytheville, and that would be areas like Kent and Springtown, Graham's Forge, areas like that is where this storm is headed. If it remains a powerful storm, that is the direction it would be headed in. But once again, this storm right now is in Rural Retreat in Wythe County is where it's moving into. It looks to be just north of Rural Retreat where we would see the strongest portion of this storm. So if you're on I-81, if you're near Route 11, that's where this storm is moving into right now. So just north of Rural Retreat. If you're in that location, you want to make sure to seek a sturdy structure and get to the lowest, most interior room of that structure. It also looks to be moving towards Favonia as well, and that would be along Route 52. If you're along Route 52 in Wythe County between I-81 and the Bland County border, this storm is headed in your direction. So if you're in that area, you want to seek shelter right now into a sturdy structure, the lowest floor, most interior room, and that's going to be pushing just north of Wytheville, it looks like. But anywhere in this polygon, you want to take shelter just in case. You can see that the core of the storm right now is a very small area, but it's still producing some gusty winds and hail over a pretty large area. It will affect most of Wythe County and also southern Bland. You can see this storm is kind of expanding as well. So I'm going to bring up velocity one more time. If you're not familiar, velocity is basically showing the direction and the speed of the wind. So we use this to see where there would be some rotation and also how fast the winds are blowing. So you can see some gusty winds all across the storm. I'll go ahead and see how fast we're estimating with some of these. So it looks like 58 miles per hour in a lot of spots. So 63 miles per hour is what radar is estimating these winds are blowing at. So like I said, even if there's not a tornado on the ground right now, this storm is still producing some very gusty winds, some hail potentially as well. So you'll want to make sure to seek shelter. You don't want to be caught outside, certainly, with those winds and also the potential for some hail. We could have trees coming down. You don't want to deal with that outside. The leading cause of injuries from these storms is debris flying and actually injuring a person. So if you're in Wythe County right now, if you're in southern Bland, you want to make sure to go ahead and seek that shelter right now. I'm going to bring that tornado warning back up here, and I'm going to zoom in on the storm as much as I can. So right now, it seems to be moving into Rural Retreat. If you're in Rural Retreat, now is the time to get to that sturdy structure. Once again, this tornado warning is in effect until 2:30 p.m., so it's in effect for another 12 minutes or so. And if there's still some rotation, if this storm is still pretty intense, the National Weather Service will go ahead and extend that warning a little further off to the east. So right now it's north of Rural Retreat. It's moving east-northeast rather, at about 40 miles an hour. So I'm going to pause this loop right here, and I'm going to track it out for us. So it looks like the core is just north of Rural Retreat, and I'm going to draw this out here. So it would be moving into Wytheville around 2:45 or so. It seems to be speeding up a little bit as it's moving into Wythe County. So now is the time to get to that sturdy structure. Most interior room on the lowest floor is where you want to be, anywhere in Wythe County or in southern Bland County as well. So Rural Retreat, it's on your doorstep right now. Next up is Wytheville, anywhere in between. If you're on that I-81 corridor, you'll want to take shelter now. Also, it's going to be moving into the area of I-77. So if you know any friends driving on I-77 between Bland County and Wytheville, you want to call them up. Just let them know that tornado warning is in effect for their region and it's moving towards their area. If you have any friends in this region, family members, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, kids, give them a call and just let them know. Sometimes they're not watching TV. Sometimes they don't have a phone available. So just make sure they're aware of what's going on and just tell them to get to the lowest floor, most interior room as this tornado-warned storm continues to trek through that area. Now, if it holds strength, it would be moving a little further to the east. We're looking at areas like Pulaski and then eventually Dublin. So if you're in those areas, you'll just want to monitor the situation. So, of course, you're not under that tornado warning right now, but it could be under a warning. That location could be under a warning if this storm continues to hold strength. So I'm going to look back here on velocity. The good news is we're still seeing some pretty weak rotation. I don't see anything too strong right now and too intense, so that's the good news in terms of rotation, but we'll still have some gusty winds and some hail potentially with this storm as it continues to trek through Wythe and southern Bland counties. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to that tornado warning and zoom in here. It looks to be moving pretty much parallel with I-81. So if you're on Route 11, if you're on Route I-81, that's where we're going to see those impacts. I'm going to go ahead and step in front of here on the green screen right now. So right here is where I'm talking about. We're seeing some some heavy rains, possibly some hail in this area right now. Just north of Rural Retreat is where we're seeing the core of the storm, and this is moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So if you're anywhere just north of I-81, Route 11 there, this is where this is going to be heading. So Blacklick, you're under the gun next. You want to make sure to get to your sturdy structure. Get to a sturdy structure, lowest floor, most interior room is exactly where you want to be. If you're in Blacklick, this is going to be moving towards Wytheville as well. It's a very populated area is where this storm is headed. You want to take shelter now. It's better to get in your safe place now rather than waiting until the storm is on your doorstep, because we can have some pretty gusty winds out ahead of that storm as well. So once again, if you're in Crockett, if you're in Rural Retreat, Wytheville, Fort Criswell, you'll want to make sure to get in the lowest floor, sturdy structure right now. We're going to pull up this estimate here. It will give us the timing in just a second. So Rural Retreat, I mean, this thing is moving through right now. Wytheville, it's looking like 245 or so, 248 is when the storm center would be moving through that area. And then eventually, like I was saying, it's going to move further east into Pulaski County. We'd see Pulaski dealing with that, Dublin as well, if that storm holds its strength. So if you're anywhere in this polygon, if you're under that tornado warning, southern Bland, entirety of Wythe County, you want to make sure to get to your safe place right now. We're looking at velocity here. So we're not seeing too tight of a circulation. That's the good news. Pretty broad rotation. We still could see a tornado possibly on the ground in this general area. We're looking right here. We can see kind of the winds trying to swirl around a little bit. But the good news, like I said, is the couplet isn't too tight right now. They went ahead and issued this tornado warning just out of precaution. But either way, we're going to see Wythe County and southern Bland County getting a pretty nasty storm, whether it's producing a tornado or not. So you want to take this pretty seriously. But once again, it's moving through Rural Retreat right now. It's going to continue to push north and east along I-81, just north of Route 11. And we got some heavy rain falling as well. We can see that in parts of the storm, in the core of the storm where it's raining the heaviest, we're talking about over 4.5 inches per hour. So we could also see some localized flooding issues, some ponding out in the roadways, stuff like that. You certainly don't want to be on the roadways right now. You want to be seeking shelter as well. Some other areas down further in southern Wythe County, I should say, seeing about 4 inches per hour rainfall rates at the moment. So once again, if you're just now joining us, we do have a tornado warning for Wythe County and southern Bland as well. That's in effect until 2:30, so it looks like that's only in effect for about 6-7 more minutes, but the National Weather Service may go ahead and expand that warning a little further to the north and the east if we see that rotation remaining strength, if this storm stays pretty strong. It looks to be weakening a little bit. That seems to be the good news, and hopefully that trend will continue. But with these tornado-warned storms, sometimes we can see them weakening a little bit, and then they'll go ahead and strengthen even more. So they actually just went ahead and expired that tornado warning. So that's the good news. That tornado warning has expired for Wythe and southern Bland County. I know it says until 2:30, but they went ahead and expired it early. They just weren't seeing much rotation with that storm, so they went ahead and dropped that warning. We're going to go ahead and pass it back to your regularly scheduled programming right now, but of course the WVVA Precision Weather team has you covered. If there's any more tornado warnings or active weather, we'll break in once again and keep you updated with the very latest.